The Grand Galactic Council chamber was the most important place in the known universe. It was massive, the size of a small city. The ceiling showed the stars above, and the floor was made of glass that looked down into endless space. 500 species from across the galaxy had seats here. Each species sent their best leader to represent their people. Today the chamber was full. Every seat was taken. The noise was incredible, hundreds of voices speaking different languages, all arguing at once. Counselor Vexter stood at the center podium. He was a Crothian, a tall reptilian creature with red scales and yellow eyes. He had been a counselor for 30 years and he was proud. Very proud. Order! Vexter shouted, his voice echoing through the chamber. We must have order. Slowly the voices quieted down. Everyone turned to look at him. Fellow counselors, Vexter began, his voice strong and confident. We are here to discuss a serious problem. The human problem. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Everyone had opinions about humans. For the last 50 years humans have been expanding, Vexter continued. They started with one planet, Earth. Now they have 50 colonies. They're taking our trade routes. They're competing with our businesses. They're becoming too powerful. They're dangerous, shouted another counselor, a bird-like creature with blue feathers. They're too ambitious, agreed a counselor that looked like a floating jellyfish. They grow too fast, added an insect-like being with multiple eyes. Vexter nodded. Exactly. If we don't stop them now, they will become unstoppable. I propose military action. We should attack Earth before they become a real threat. Council leader Zephyr stood up slowly. He was ancient, over 300 years old, with gray skin and wise eyes that had seen many wars. Counselor Vexter, Zephyr said carefully. War is a serious decision. Are you certain this is necessary? Yes. Vexter said firmly. We have 500 species in this council. We have 100,000 warships. Humans have maybe 5,000 ships. We would crush them easily. More counselors started agreeing. Hands went up. Voices shouted support. We should vote, someone called out. Yes. Vote now, others agreed. Zephyr raised his hand. Very well. All in favor of military action against. Suddenly the chamber went cold. Not just cool. Ice cold. So cold that some counselors could see their breath in the air. The lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then they dimmed to almost nothing. A presence filled the room. Something ancient. Something powerful. Something that made every counselor's skin crawl with instinctive fear. Stop. The voice was like thunder. Like the sound of stars exploding. It came from everywhere and nowhere. In the center of the chamber, reality itself seemed to bend. Space twisted. Light curved. And then IT appeared. The observer. Every counselor gasped. Some fell to their knees. Others backed away in fear. The observer was a being of pure energy. It looked somewhat humanoid, 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, but it was made of starlight and cosmic dust. Its body was translucent, showing galaxies swirling inside. Its eyes were white, glowing with the light of 1 billion suns. The observer was the oldest being in the galaxy. No one knew how old. Billions of years, perhaps. It had been alive when the first stars were born. It had watched civilizations rise from nothing and fall into dust. And it rarely, very rarely, appeared before anyone. The last time the observer had appeared was 200 years ago, to stop a war that would have destroyed half the galaxy. Now it was here again. Great observer, Zephyr said, bowing deeply with respect. You honor us with your presence. To what do we owe? You will not attack Earth, the observer said. Its voice was calm but absolute. Like gravity. Like physics. Unchangeable. Vexter tried to speak confidently, but his voice shook slightly. Great observer, with all respect, why do you protect these humans? They're just one species. We are 500. I do not protect them, the observer interrupted. I protect you. From them. Confused murmurs spread through the chamber. I don't understand, Zephyr said carefully. The observer's glowing eyes swept across the room, looking at each counselor. When its gaze touched them, they felt the weight of billions of years of knowledge. I have existed for longer than your species can imagine, the observer said. I have watched 10,000 civilizations rise and fall. I have seen empires that ruled galaxies crumble into dust. I have witnessed the birth and death of stars. It paused. And I have watched 47 species make the exact mistake you are about to make. What mistake? Vexter asked, though he was beginning to feel afraid. They attacked humanity, the observer said quietly. All 47 of them. Some were stronger than you. Some had more ships. Some had better technology. All of them thought they would win. The chamber was completely silent now. Everyone was listening. And? Counselor Yara asked, a peaceful species with gentle eyes. What happened to them? The observer looked at her. And for the first time in billions of years, its voice carried sadness. They are extinct. All of them. Every single one. 47 species that decided to fight humanity. 47 species that thought they could win. 47 species that no longer exist. The words hit the council like a physical blow. Not one survived, the observer continued. Not one negotiated peace after starting the war. Not one lived to regret their decision. They are gone. Their planets are empty. Their names are forgotten. Their civilizations are dust. It looked directly at Vexter. You think you are strong because you have 500 species. They thought the same. You think you will win because you have more ships. They thought the same. You are making their mistake. And I will not watch it happen again. Vexter stood frozen, unsure what to say. Do not attack Earth, the observer said one final time. This is not a suggestion. This is a warning from someone who has seen this tragedy 47 times before. Do not attack Earth. Then, as suddenly as it appeared, the observer vanished. The lights returned to normal. The warmth came back. But the fear remained. For a long moment, no one spoke. The weight of the observer's words pressed down on everyone. Then Vexter straightened his back. His pride was wounded. He felt embarrassed in front of 500 species. Ancient stories, Vexter said, trying to sound confident. The observer is old. Perhaps too old. It doesn't understand modern warfare. We have advanced technology now. Better weapons. Better strategies. Some counselors nodded slowly, wanting to believe him. I call for the vote again, Vexter said loudly. The observer means well, but we cannot let fear guide us. All in favor of military action against Earth. Hands started going up. Slowly at first. Then more. And more. 300 votes for war. 100 against. 100 abstained. The motion passed. War with Earth was approved. Counselor Yara put her head in her hands and whispered, We're going to die. All of us. We're going to die. Far away, in a place beyond time and space, the observer watched the vote. Its ancient eyes closed in infinite sadness. It had tried. It had warned them. They didn't listen. Just like the 47 species before them. Fools, the observer whispered. I tried to save you. 2 weeks had passed since the vote. The Grand Council War Room was busy with activity. Holographic displays showed star maps, fleet positions, and battle simulations. Military commanders from dozens of species worked together, planning the attack on Earth. Counselor Vexter stood at the center table, looking at the holographic map of human territory. 50 small dots represented 50 human colonies. One larger blue dot marked Earth itself. It doesn't look so impressive, Vexter said to the group of commanders around him. General Krenth, a massive bear-like creature covered in dark fur, nodded in agreement. Intelligence reports show humans have approximately 5,000 warships. Spread across 50 colonies. That's only 100 ships per colony on average. And we have 100,000 ships, Admiral Thex added. She was a blue-skinned aquatic species with gills on her neck. We outnumber them 20 to 1. Vexter smiled. The observer was wrong. Humans are not special. They're just another young species that expanded too quickly. A tactical officer pulled up detailed scans of human military technology. Sir, we've analyzed their weapons systems. Standard plasma cannons. Energy shields. Missile arrays. Nothing we haven't seen before. Some of their technology is actually behind ours. Behind? Krenth laughed. And the observer said we should fear them? The commanders joined in the laughter. The fear they felt 2 weeks ago was fading. The data in front of them showed a very ordinary enemy. Nothing special. Nothing terrifying. Here's my plan, Vexter said, manipulating the holographic display. We divide our fleet into 3 strike forces. Strike Force Alpha, 30,000 ships, will attack the Outer Rim colonies first. Destroy their defenses. Show them we're serious. He moved the display to show the middle colonies. Strike Force Beta, 40,000 ships, will attack the middle colonies. Cut off their supply lines. Isolate Earth from its outer territories. Then he zoomed in on Earth itself. Strike Force Gamma, 30,000 ships, will position near Earth's system. When the outer colonies fall, we jump to Earth and demand immediate surrender. If they refuse, we destroy their home world. The commanders nodded. It was a solid plan. Overwhelming force. Multiple directions. Classic military strategy. When do we launch? Admiral Thex asked. 1 week, Vexter said. We need to finalize supply lines and coordinate all species fleets. But in 1 week, we end the human expansion permanently. The meeting was breaking up when Counselor Yara entered the war room. She looked tired. Worried. Commanders, please, Yara said. I beg you to reconsider. The Observer has never been wrong. Never. In 10,000 years of recorded history. Counselor Yara, Vexter interrupted, annoyed. We've discussed this. The Observer is old. It means well, but it doesn't understand modern warfare. But 47 extinct species. Probably lies, General Krent said dismissively. Or exaggerations. Old beings tend to tell stories that grow bigger with time. Or those species were weak, Admiral Thex added. We are not weak. We are 500 species united. That's never been done before. Yara looked at each of them. You're making a terrible mistake. The only mistake, Vexter said coldly, would be to let fear stop us from protecting our territory. The vote was taken. The decision is made. In 1 week we attack Earth. Yara left the war room in despair. That night, Vexter was alone in his quarters reviewing battle plans. Suddenly the temperature dropped. The lights dimmed. He knew immediately who it was. Great Observer, Vexter said without turning around. Have you come to warn me again? The Observer materialized in the room, its form glowing softly with cosmic energy. I have come one final time, the Observer said. To beg you. Don't do this. You don't understand what humans are. They're just another species, Vexter said, still studying his displays. Slightly advanced. Slightly ambitious. Nothing special. You're wrong, the Observer said sadly. Let me show you something. The Observer raised its hand. The room filled with images, not holograms but visions pulled from the Observer's ancient memories. Vexter saw Earth. Not the modern Earth with cities and spaceports. Ancient Earth. Earth from 200,000 years ago. He saw a planet of extreme violence. Ice ages that should have killed all life. Predators with teeth like knives. Diseases that wiped out entire populations. Volcanoes. Earthquakes. Floods. This is where humans evolved, the Observer explained. Most species in this galaxy evolved on paradise worlds. Gentle climates. Abundant food. Few predators. The vision changed. Vexter saw early humans, small, weak, hairless apes with no claws, no fangs, no armor. Humans had no natural weapons, the Observer continued. No thick hide. No poison. No speed. They should have gone extinct in the first million years. But they didn't, Vexter said, watching the vision. No, they didn't. Do you know why? The vision showed humans working together. Making tools. Using fire. Creating weapons. Planning hunts. They learned to cooperate, the Observer said. They learned to think. They learned to adapt. And most importantly, they learned to never give up. The vision sped up. Humans fighting. Always fighting. Fighting animals. Fighting nature. Fighting each other. For 200,000 years, every single day was a battle for survival. War is something you do, the Observer said quietly. War is something humans are. It's in their DNA. Their culture. Their history. They've been fighting for survival since before your species discovered fire. Vexter finally turned to face the Observer. Every species has a history of conflict. That doesn't make them unstoppable. No, the Observer agreed. But humans are different in one critical way. What way? The Observer's eyes glowed brighter. They never stop. Ever. Other species fight until it's too costly. Until it's not worth it. Until it makes more sense to negotiate. The Observer leaned closer. Humans don't think that way. When you threaten them, truly threaten them, they don't calculate cost. They don't measure profit. They simply eliminate the threat. Completely. Permanently. No matter what it costs them. That's inefficient, Vexter said. That's why they win, the Observer replied. Because they're willing to lose everything to eliminate an enemy. Are you? Are your 500 species willing to lose everything? Vexter was quiet for a moment. Then his pride reasserted itself. Great Observer, I respect you. I respect your age and wisdom. But I cannot lead based on fear. We have 100,000 ships. The largest military force in galactic history. We will not lose. The Observer's form began to fade. You're right, the Observer said sadly. You will not lose. Vexter looked surprised. Then why? Because losing, suggest there will be something left of you when this ends? The observer interrupted. The 47 species before you didn't lose. They ceased to exist. There's a difference. The observer vanished completely, leaving only one final whisper. I tried to save you, Vexter. I truly tried. But I cannot save those who will not save themselves. Vexter stood alone in his quarters. For just a moment, just a brief moment, doubt touched his heart. Then he looked at his battle plans. 100,000 ships. 500 species. The greatest military force ever assembled. The observer is wrong, Vexter said to the empty room. We will win. We have to win. He didn't sound as confident as he wanted to. 1 week later, the Council fleet was ready. 100,000 warships from 500 different species. They gathered at the staging point just outside human territory. The fleet was so massive it looked like a small galaxy of metal and lights. Inside his command ship, the Pride of Krathia, Counselor Vexter looked at the tactical display with satisfaction. All strike forces report ready, sir, his tactical officer said. Excellent, Vexter replied. Begin the operation. Strike Force Alpha, move to your targets. New Arizona Colony Outer Rim. The colony was small, only 20,000 humans living there. Farmers mostly. They grew food in the red soil that reminded them of Earth's Arizona desert. Chief Administrator Marcus Webb sat in his office, reviewing crop reports, when the alarm started screaming. Sir, his communications officer burst in. Ships. Thousands of them. Dropping out of FTL. Marcus ran to the command center. The screens showed his worst nightmare, 10,000 Council warships surrounding the colony. New Arizona had 200 defense ships. Good ships. Well-trained crews. But 200 against 10,000 was suicide. A message came through. General Krenth's face appeared on screen. Human colony, this is General Krenth of the Galactic Council fleet. Surrender immediately or we will destroy you. Marcus took a deep breath. General, we are a farming colony. We have no military value. Please, there are children here. You have 10 minutes to evacuate civilians, Krenth interrupted. Then we attack. Whether you surrender or not, this colony will be destroyed. We're sending a message to Earth. The transmission ended. Marcus immediately hit the emergency broadcast. All civilians to evacuation ships. Now, this is not a drill. People ran through the streets. Parents grabbed children. Farmers left their fields. Everyone rushed to the transport ships. Marcus turned to his defense fleet commander, Captain Torres. Hold them off as long as you can. Give the civilians time. Sir, Torres said. We can't win this fight. I know, Marcus said quietly. But we can buy time. And we can send Earth data on their tactics, their weapons, their formations. Make every second count. Torres saluted. Understood, sir. The 200 human defense ships launched to meet the incoming fleet. It was a slaughter. The Council ships had better numbers, but human ships fought with desperate skill. They dodged. They weaved. They used the planet's gravity to their advantage. They fired, retreated, fired again. For 6 hours, 200 human ships held off 10,000. But eventually it was over. The last human defense ship, badly damaged, jumped to FTL speed and escaped. Captain Torres had survived, barely. General Krenth's ships bombarded New Arizona colony. Buildings exploded. Fields burned. The beautiful farming colony was destroyed. But the civilians had escaped. All 20,000 of them. As the last evacuation ship jumped away, Marcus Webb sent one final message to Earth. New Arizona fallen. Enemy fleet, 10,000 ships. Tactics recorded and transmitted. They're coming. Hope Station and Sanctuary Colony fell the same way. Hope Station held for 8 hours before falling. Sanctuary Colony fought for 12 hours before surrendering. In total, the Council destroyed 3 human colonies in 1 day. On the Pride of Krathia, Vexter celebrated with his commanders. 3 colonies destroyed. Minimal losses on our side. Krenth reported. Only 150 Council ships damaged. None destroyed. The humans ran. Admiral Thex laughed. Their defense ships retreated instead of fighting to the death. Because they're cowards. Vexter said triumphantly. The observer was wrong. Humans are not warriors. They're farmers playing at military. They can't stand against real power. He sent a galaxy-wide broadcast. Let this be a lesson to all species. The Galactic Council is the supreme power. Humans are not special. They fall like everyone else. We are unstoppable. But something bothered the Council's intelligence officers. Sir, one analyst said to Krenth. The human ships that escaped, they all transmitted massive amounts of data before they left. So, Krenth dismissed it. They sent reports to Earth. Let them. It won't change anything. But sir, the data was very detailed. Every weapon we fired. Every formation we used. Every tactical decision. They recorded everything. They're probably just documenting their defeat, Krenth said. Let them write their sad history. Earth, War Council Chamber. The room was cold. Silent. Deadly. Fleet Admiral Sarah Chin stood before a holographic display showing the 3 destroyed colonies. Her face was carved from stone. Emotionless. But her eyes burned with cold fury. Around the table sat Earth's top military commanders. Navy. Marines. Intelligence. Special Forces. All of them silent. 3 colonies destroyed, Chin said quietly. 600 civilians killed in the initial attacks. 150 soldiers dead defending. 19,400 civilians evacuated successfully. She pulled up more data. Captain Torres's battle data has been analyzed. The enemy fleet uses standard formation tactics. Their weapons are powerful but predictable. Their shields have a 0.3-second recharge delay after each hit. A Marine general spoke. Admiral, should we attempt negotiation? Try to end this before. No. The single word was absolute. They attacked our homes, Chin continued, her voice ice cold. They destroyed our colonies. They killed our people. Our children. She looked around the table at each commander. Negotiations are for disputes. This is war. And when someone declares war on Earth, we don't negotiate. We don't debate. We don't calculate acceptable losses. Admiral Chin pressed a button on the console. We eliminate the threat. Completely. Permanently. Red lights began flashing throughout the room. Alarms sounded in military bases across Earth. On the Moon. On Mars. On hidden military stations throughout human space. I'm activating Protocol Reaper, Chin announced. Every commander's face went grim. They knew what Protocol Reaper meant. All hidden fleets decloak and activate. All reserve forces deploy immediately. All experimental weapons authorized for combat use. All sleeper ships wake up and arm. She pulled up a new star map. The Council knew about 50 human colonies and 5,000 warships. The new map showed the truth. 150 human military installations the Council didn't know existed. 200 hidden shipyards. 300 cloaked military stations. And 45,000 additional warships that had been in stealth mode, waiting. Total Earth military strength. 50,000 warships. The Council thinks we have 5,000. Let's teach them why that was a mistake. Chen's eyes were colder than space itself. They wanted to see what happens when you attack Earth. Let's show them. Prepare for total warfare. Across human space, hidden bases came alive. Stealth ships decloaked. Dark shipyards lit up with activity. Weapons that didn't exist became operational. The Council had attacked thinking they outnumbered humans 20-1. The real ratio was 2-1. And Earth was very, very angry. 3 days after the first attacks, the Council fleet moved deeper into human territory. Strike Force Beta, 40,000 warships, advanced toward the middle colonies. They expected more easy victories like before. General Krenth sat in his command chair, confident and relaxed. Our scouts report the next target, Harmony Colony. Population 50,000. Defense fleet approximately 300 ships. Another easy victory, Admiral Thex said, smiling. They jumped into the Harmony system, weapons ready. But something was wrong. Sir, the sensor officer shouted. I'm detecting thousands of ships. What? Krenth jumped to his feet. That's impossible. Intelligence said only 300. The view screen showed the truth. 5,000 human warships waiting for them. Not running. Not hiding. Waiting. Where did they all come from? Krenth screamed. His communications officer looked terrified. Sir, I'm getting reports from strike forces Alpha and Gamma. They're also encountering massive human fleets. Thousands of ships we didn't know existed. Before Krenth could respond, the human ships attacked. And they fought nothing like the defenders of New Arizona. The 200 ships at New Arizona had been defense forces. Soldiers trained to protect civilians and buy time for evacuation. Good soldiers but not specialists. These 5,000 ships were Earth's military fleet. Professional warriors. Veterans. Hunters. They moved like wolves attacking prey. Human ships didn't stay in neat formations like the Council fleet. They scattered, attacking from multiple directions at once. They were fast, impossibly fast. They dodged Council weapons like they could predict where the shots would go. "They're everywhere," a Council captain screamed over the communications. "I can't track them. They're too fast." The humans targeted specific weak points. They didn't just fire randomly. Every shot hit a shield generator, a weapon system, an engine. Surgical strikes. Precise. Deadly. "Their tactics," Admiral Thex shouted. "They're using guerrilla warfare. Hit and run. This isn't how civilized militaries fight." "They're not civilized," Krenth realized in horror. The observer was right. They fight like predators. One human destroyer, the Retribution, cut through 3 Council battleships in under 2 minutes. Its weapons fired continuously, never missing. Its shields absorbed damage that should have destroyed it. Council ships tried to surround it. The Retribution just accelerated to impossible speeds and escaped, destroying 2 more ships on the way out. "How are they so fast?" an officer asked. "They're using gravitational slingshots around debris," the tactical officer realized. "They're turning the battlefield itself into a weapon." The battle lasted 3 hours. When it ended, the Council had lost 3,000 ships. Earth lost 200. The ratio should have been impossible. The Council had better numbers. But numbers meant nothing when the enemy was faster, smarter, and more aggressive. "Retreat," Krenth finally ordered. "All ships, full retreat." The Council fleet ran. And human ships chased them. Not all of them. Just enough to be terrifying. Human destroyers picked off the slowest Council ships one by one, like wolves chasing wounded prey. On the Pride of Krathia, Vexter received reports from all 3 strike forces. The news was devastating. Strike Force Alpha lost 4,000 ships. Strike Force Beta lost 3,000 ships. Strike Force Gamma lost 3,000 ships. Total losses in 3 hours, 10,000 ships. 10% of their entire fleet. Earth's losses? Less than 1,000 ships. "How?" Vexter shouted. "How? We outnumber them. We have better technology. How are we losing?" His intelligence officer, trembling, pulled up new data. "Sir, we made a terrible mistake. Earth has been hiding most of its fleet. Our intelligence was wrong." "What do you mean wrong?" "We thought they had 5,000 warships total. New intelligence suggests they have 50,000 warships." The command bridge went silent. 50,000? Vexter whispered. "That means we don't outnumber them 20 to 1. We barely outnumber them 2 to 1. And sir," the officer continued, his voice breaking, "their ships are better than ours. Faster engines. Stronger shields. More accurate weapons. They've been hiding their true capabilities." Admiral Thex looked at the casualty reports in disbelief. "They let us win at New Arizona. They let us destroy those colonies. They sacrificed their own people to gather intelligence on us. And to make us overconfident," Krenth added, understanding flooding through him. "They wanted us to think they were weak. So we'd commit fully to the attack." Vexter sat down heavily in his command chair. His pride was shattered. His confidence was gone. What do we do?" he asked quietly. "We need to retreat," Thex said. "Regroup. Rethink our strategy. If we retreat, we look weak." Vexter protested, but his voice had no strength. "If we don't retreat, we'll be extinct." Krenth shouted. "The observer warned us. 47 species extinct. We didn't listen." Vexter looked at the holographic display showing the battlefield. Council ships burning. Human ships hunting through the wreckage. Efficient. Ruthless. Unstoppable. "Send orders to all strike forces," Vexter said quietly. "Full retreat. Back to Council space." "And then?" Thex asked. "Then we beg for peace," Vexter admitted. "Before it's too late." He opened a communication channel to Earth Command, but there was no answer. He tried again. Nothing. "They're not responding to our communications," the communications officer reported. "Keep trying," Vexter ordered desperately. But deep down he knew the truth. Earth wasn't interested in talking. Not yet. Not until they had delivered their message. On Earth, Admiral Chen watched the Council fleet retreat. Her officers waited for orders. "Should we pursue, Admiral?" her second-in-command asked. Chen's face was expressionless. "Yes. Hunt them. All the way back to their home worlds." "Ma'am, they're trying to negotiate." "They attacked our homes first," Chen interrupted coldly. "They destroyed our colonies. Killed our civilians. Now they learn what happens when you attack Earth." She looked at the display showing the fleeing council ships. No mercy. No negotiation. Not yet. First they learned to fear us. The war continued for 2 more weeks. It was not a war. It was a massacre. Every day brought worse news for the council. Day 4. Council lost 5,000 more ships. Humans lost 300. Day 7. Council lost 8,000 ships. Humans lost 500. Day 10. Council lost 12,000 ships. Humans lost 700. By day 14 the council had lost 40,000 warships, 40% of their entire fleet. Earth had lost only 3,000 ships, 6% of their fleet. In the council war room the mood was despair. Vexter looked like he had aged 10 years in 2 weeks. His scales were dull. His eyes were tired. His confidence was completely gone. Another fleet destroyed, General Krenth reported quietly. The 7th Defense Fleet, wiped out near Kepler Station. All 2,000 ships. None escaped. How many humans did we destroy? Vexter asked, though he already knew the answer would hurt. 80 ships, Krenth said. We killed 80 of them. They killed 2,000 of us. Around the table, commanders from different species sat in shocked silence. These were the greatest military minds in the galaxy. Veterans of 100 battles. Conquerors of worlds. And they were losing. Badly. I don't understand, Admiral Thex said, her voice breaking. We still have 60,000 ships. They have maybe 47,000 now. We still outnumber them. Why do we keep losing? Because numbers don't matter, a new voice said. Everyone turned. Counselor Yara had entered the war room. She looked sad but not surprised. Numbers don't matter when you're fighting humans, she continued. The observer tried to tell us. We didn't listen. Then explain it to us. Vexter shouted desperately. What makes them so different? They're just flesh and blood like us. They die when we hit them. So why are we losing? Yara sat down slowly. I've been studying every battle, watching the recordings, analyzing their tactics. And I finally understand. She pulled up a holographic replay of the last battle. Watch this moment. Our ships are in perfect formation. Organized. Beautiful. Military academy perfect. The council ships were indeed arranged in neat rows, maintaining proper spacing, following doctrine. Now watch the human ships. The human ships moved like a school of fish. Or a flock of birds. No neat formation. But somehow coordinated. Chaotic yet controlled. They don't fight by the rules, Yara explained. Our military academies teach specific formations, specific strategies, rules of engagement, proper military doctrine. Humans don't care about any of that. They fight to win. However they need to. Whatever it takes. She showed another clip. A human destroyer being chased by 5 council battleships. Watch. Our ships chase in formation, maintaining proper spacing so they don't hit each other. Then the human ship did something impossible. It spun around, flew between 2 council ships, fired at both at point-blank range, then accelerated away before the council ships could react. That maneuver violates 3 safety protocols, Admiral Thex said. The pilot could have died. But he didn't, Yara said. He won. That's the difference. We follow rules. They follow results. Vexter put his head in his hands. So what do we do? How do we beat them? We don't, Yara said simply. We can't. Not militarily. Our only option is to surrender. Never. Vexter stood up. I will not be the counselor who surrendered to one species. We are 500 species united. Then you'll be the counselor who led 500 species to extinction, Yara said coldly. That night something worse happened. Council homeworlds started reporting attacks. Not on military bases. On the homeworlds themselves. The planet Krothia Prime, Vexter's homeworld, suddenly had human ships in orbit. Not attacking. Just sitting there. Visible. Threatening. 50 human warships surrounded the planet. The message was clear, we can destroy your home anytime we want. The same thing happened to 15 other council species. Human fleets appeared at their home planets. Not attacking. Just waiting. Watching. The terror was worse than actual attacks. Vexter received a call from his own government. Counselor. There are human warships orbiting our planet. Our children can see them from the ground. Do something. Other counselors received similar calls. Panic was spreading across the council species. Then Earth finally responded to their communication requests. Admiral Chen's face appeared on every council command ship at the same time. Counselor Vexter, Chen said, her voice cold as ice. You've been trying to contact us. Now I'm ready to talk. Admiral Chen. Vexter said desperately. Please? We wish to negotiate. To end this war. You want to end the war? Chen smiled, but it was not a kind smile. The war you started? The war where you attacked our colonies? Killed our civilians? It was a mistake. Vexter pleaded. We were wrong. We admit it. Please, no more killing. You're right, Chen agreed. It was a mistake. Your mistake. And now you're learning why the observer warned you. She leaned forward. But I'm not finished teaching yet. What do you want? Vexter whispered. I want you to understand something, Chen said. Those ships orbiting your home worlds? They're not there to attack. They're there to remind you. To remind every species in your council. Remind us of what? That Earth can reach you. Anytime. Anywhere. Your fleets can't stop us. Your defenses can't slow us. We can destroy your home worlds whenever we want. Vexter felt cold terror run through his body. But we won't, Chen continued. Not yet. Because I'm giving you one chance. One opportunity to end this. What do you want us to do? Vexter begged. Surrender, Chen said simply. Complete. Unconditional. Surrender. If we surrender? Vexter asked carefully. You'll stop the attacks? If you surrender, we'll discuss peace terms, Chen said. If you don't surrender in the next 24 hours, we'll start removing home worlds. One per day. Until you do surrender. Or until you're all gone. The transmission ended. Vexter sat in his command chair, completely broken. Krent spoke quietly. Sir, we need to surrender. We have no choice. The council will never accept it, Vex said. 500 species surrendering to one? The shame. Better shame than extinction, Yara interrupted. The observer warned us. 47 species didn't listen. They're all dead. We can be number 48. Or we can swallow our pride and survive. Vexter looked at his commanders. At the tactical displays showing council fleets being destroyed. At the images of human ships orbiting his home world. He had no choice left. Send word to all council members, Vexter said, his voice hollow. Emergency session. Tomorrow. We vote on surrender. The emergency council session was chaos. 500 species screaming at each other. Blaming. Arguing. Panicking. This is Vexter's fault. We should never have attacked. My home world has human ships in orbit. My children are terrified. We're all going to die. Council leader Zephin tried to restore order, but his voice was lost in the noise. Then the chamber went cold. The lights dimmed. The presence filled the room. The observer had returned. Everyone fell silent immediately. Some dropped to their knees. Others backed away in fear. The ancient being materialized in the center of the chamber, its form glowing with cosmic energy. But this time it looked different. Sad. Disappointed. Like a teacher watching students fail a test they had been warned about. You did not listen, the observer said quietly. Its voice echoed in every mind. I warned you. I begged you. And you attacked anyway. Vexter stood up, his body shaking. Great observer, please. Help us. Tell us how to stop them. Tell us how to beat them. You cannot beat them, the observer said simply. But there must be a way, another counselor shouted. Some weakness. Some strategy. There is no weakness, the observer said. Because you're not fighting a species. You're fighting a force of nature. And you cannot negotiate with a hurricane. You can only survive it. Counselor Yara spoke carefully. Great observer, please. Help us understand. Why are humans so different? Why can't we defeat them? The observer looked at her with ancient, sad eyes. Because I asked you to explain, I will show you. Let me show you what you have awakened. The observer raised its hand. The entire chamber disappeared. Suddenly, the counselors found themselves standing on a planet. But it was like no planet they had ever seen. The sky was dark with storm clouds. Lightning crashed everywhere. The ground shook with earthquakes. In the distance, a volcano erupted, spewing lava. This is Earth, the observer's voice said. 200,000 years ago. This is where humans evolved. A creature appeared, a saber-toothed cat the size of a bear with teeth like knives. Look, the observer said. This predator. It's faster than humans. Stronger than humans. Has better weapons than humans. By all logic, humans should have been prey. Food. Extinct. The scene changed. They saw early humans, small, weak, hairless apes with no claws, no fangs, no natural armor. They had nothing, the observer continued. No thick skin to protect them. No speed to run away. No venom to defend themselves. They should have died out in the first 1,000 years. But they didn't, Yara whispered. No, they didn't. Watch. The vision showed humans working together. Making spears. Creating fire. Setting traps. 10 humans surrounded one saber-toothed cat. The cat was stronger. But the humans were smarter. The humans killed it. They learned cooperation, the observer explained. They learned to think. To plan. To use tools. The vision sped up. Thousands of years passed in seconds. Ice ages came. Humans survived. Droughts came. Humans adapted. Diseases came. Humans endured. Predators came. Humans hunted them to extinction. For 200,000 years, every single day was a fight for survival, the observer said. Most species in this galaxy evolved on paradise worlds. Plenty of food. Comfortable temperatures. Few dangers. The counselors saw visions of their own home worlds, gentle, safe, abundant. But Earth. The observer showed them Earth again. Earth was a death world. A planet that tried to kill everything on it. And humans survived it. Not just survived, they conquered it. The vision changed again. Now they saw human history. Humans fighting each other. Wars. Endless wars. When they finally beat nature, the observer continued, they turned on each other. For 10,000 years humans have been at war. With nature. With predators. With themselves. The counselors watched in horror as humans developed more and more sophisticated ways to kill. Spears. Arrows. Swords. Guns. Bombs. Nuclear weapons. War is not something humans do, the observer said. War is what humans are. It's coded into their DNA. Their culture. Their history. Every human child learns about war. Every human leader plans for war. Every human soldier trains for war. Vexter's voice shook. But we have warriors too. Every species has warriors. No, the observer said. You have soldiers. Humans have something else. The vision changed one final time. The counselors saw the 47 extinct species that the observer had mentioned. Worlds that were now empty. Ruins of civilizations that no longer existed. The Vrathians, the observer narrated. They attacked a human trade ship. Killed 20 humans. Humans responded by destroying their entire species. 15 billion Vrathians. Gone. The Kellner Empire. They enslaved a human colony. 5,000 humans. The empire had 100 billion citizens. Humans freed the colony. Then destroyed the empire. All of it. The Zethkar Dominion. They bombed a human planet. Killed 2 million humans. The Dominion had 50 billion citizens across 20 worlds. Humans exterminated them all. Every last one. On and on. 47 species. All extinct. All because they attacked humans. Do you see the pattern? The observer asked. Humans don't fight until the cost becomes too high. They fight until the enemy is completely eliminated. No survivors. No warnings. No mercy. Admiral Thex's voice was barely a whisper. Why? Why are they so ruthless? Because that's how they survived, the observer explained. On Earth, showing mercy to a predator meant it came back and killed your children. Leaving an enemy alive meant they returned with reinforcements. Humans learned over 200,000 years. When threatened, eliminate the threat completely. Or you die. The vision ended. The counselors were back in the chamber. Everyone was silent. Horror on every face. Zephan finally spoke. Then we're all going to die. Like the others. Maybe, the observer said. The 47 species I showed you all made the same mistake. They attacked first. They refused to surrender. They fought until extinction. But you survived, the observer said, looking at Vexter. You surrendered. That's why I'm here. I don't understand, Vexter said. Humans have a saying, the observer explained. Never start a fight. But always finish it. You started this fight. Humans will finish it. But they don't enjoy killing. They do it because they believe it's necessary. The observer's voice softened slightly. If you surrender completely. If you admit total defeat. If you beg for mercy and mean it. Then maybe humans will spare you. How do you know? Yara asked. Because humans have another saying, the observer said. Mercy to the defeated. Death to the defiant. Show them you are truly defeated. Show them you will never threaten them again. And they might let you live. Vexter fell to his knees. What do we do? The observer began to fade. You humble yourselves. You beg. You surrender everything. And you pray that human mercy is stronger than human vengeance. The next day, Admiral Sarah Chin stood before the Galactic Council. Not via hologram. In person. On their station. In their chamber. It was a power move. A statement. Earth was not afraid to walk into the heart of Council territory. 50 human soldiers stood with her as honor guard. Silent. Disciplined. Each one a reminder of what Earth could do. The 500 Council species sat in their seats, looking defeated. Broken. Many couldn't even meet Chen's eyes. Counselor Vexter stood at the center podium. Once proud and confident. Now humbled and afraid. Admiral Chen, Vexter began, his voice shaking. On behalf of the Galactic Council representing 500 species, we formally surrender. Completely. Unconditionally. He paused, struggling with the words. We admit we were wrong. We attacked your colonies. We killed your people. We started this war. And we have lost. Around the chamber, other counselors stood one by one. We surrender, each said. Species after species. Proud warriors. Ancient civilizations. Powerful empires. All defeated. When the last species had spoken, Vexter continued, we beg for mercy. We ask that you spare our home worlds. Our civilians. Our children. They are innocent. If you must punish someone, punish us. The leaders who voted for war. Admiral Chin was silent for a long moment. The entire chamber held its breath. Finally Chin spoke, the observer warned you. Didn't it? Yes, Vexter said quietly. It told you about the 47 extinct species. Didn't it? Yes. And you attacked anyway. Because you thought you were different. Special. Strong enough to win. Vexter said nothing. What could he say? Chin walked slowly around the chamber looking at each species. Do you know why those 47 species are extinct? She asked. Because they attacked you, someone answered. No, Chin said. They're extinct because they wouldn't surrender. They kept fighting even when they knew they would lose. Pride killed them. Not us. Pride. She stopped walking and faced the council. You surrendered. That's why you're still alive. That took courage. More courage than starting the war. Vexter looked up, surprised. You're not going to destroy us? No, Chin said simply. We're not monsters. We're defenders. You attacked us. We defended ourselves. Now you've surrendered. The threat is over. Relief flooded through the chamber. Some counselors cried. Others put their heads in their hands. But, Chin continued, her voice hardening, you will pay for what you did. Not with extinction. But with consequences. She pulled up a holographic display. These are Earth's terms. Non-negotiable. The terms were harsh but fair. Pay reparations to the families of the 600 civilians killed. 10 billion credits rebuild the 3 destroyed colonies. Council provides materials and labor. Sign a 1,000-year non-aggression treaty with Earth. Reduce Council military by 50%. No species may have more than 1,000 warships. Earth gets 3 permanent seats on the Council. All Council species must teach their children about this war. As a lesson in humility. These terms will remain for 1,000 years, Chin said. Your children's children's children will remember this war. They will remember what happens when you attack innocent people. Vexter read the terms carefully. These are acceptable. We agree to everything. One more thing, Chin added. In the future, if anyone attacks innocent civilians anywhere in the galaxy, Earth will respond. Not just for humans. For anyone. We will not allow another Vacrian situation. Another species enslaving others. Another empire killing the weak. She looked around the chamber. Is that clear? Yes, Zephan said. Perfectly clear. 3 months later, peace was fully established. The 3 destroyed human colonies were rebuilt, better than before. Council species worked together, sending their best engineers and workers. Children from both sides played together in the streets. Former enemies becoming friends. On Krathia Prime, Counselor Vexter walked through a memorial garden. It was dedicated to all who died in the war. Human and Council casualties together. A voice spoke behind him, you learned the lesson. Vexter turned. The observer stood there, its ancient form glowing softly. I should have listened to you, Vexter said quietly. You tried to warn us. I was too proud. Pride is the death of civilizations, the observer said. You're lucky you surrendered when you did. 1 more week and humans would have started removing home worlds. Vexter shuddered. Were they really going to destroy entire planets? Yes, the observer said simply. When humans decide you're a threat, they remove the threat. Completely. You stopped being a threat when you surrendered. That saved you. How many times have you watched this happen? Vexter asked. How many species have you warned? 47 before you. All ignored the warning. All extinct. You're the first to survive attacking humanity. Because we surrendered. Yes, because you surrendered. Remember that, Vexter. Teach it to your people. Pride kills. Humility saves. The observer began to fade. One more thing, Vexter called out. Why do you care? Why do you warn species about humans? The observer's voice came from everywhere. Because I've seen too much death. Too many extinctions. I'm tired of watching civilizations destroy themselves. You had the wisdom to surrender. That's rare. Worth preserving. Across the galaxy, the story spread. Every species heard about the Council's defeat. Every child learned the lesson in school. The Council attacked Earth. 500 species against one. They lost. Because humans are survivors. Warriors. Predators who choose mercy but never hesitate to kill. The observer's warning became galactic law. Never attack Earth. Never threaten their people. Never test their patience. And for 1,000 years the galaxy was more peaceful. Not because of laws. Not because of treaties. But because everyone remembered. The oldest being in the galaxy warned them. And those who didn't listen became extinct. Admiral Chin retired 5 years after the war. On her last day, she visited the memorial for the 750 soldiers who died defending the colonies. She placed flowers at the wall and whispered, "You didn't die for nothing. You taught the galaxy a lesson. A lesson it will never forget." Behind her, the observer appeared one final time. "You showed mercy," it said. "That's rare for your species." Chin turned. "We're not monsters. We're just very good at war." "I know," the observer said. "That's what makes you terrifying. You have the power to destroy. But you choose not to. That choice, that's true power." Chin smiled. "Maybe in another 1,000 years, the galaxy will be ready to learn that lesson without a war." "Maybe," the observer agreed. "But probably not." They both laughed. Because they both knew the truth. Peace comes from strength. And Earth had shown the galaxy what true strength looked like.